town of East Longmeadow seeks help from residents in search for a new police chief. The details ahead.
Plus, ELCAT covers St. Michael's Players auditions for Cinderella. Learn what the community theater is all about.
Also coming up, highlights of the latest town meetings. We give you the Board of Public Works and Board of Assessors.
And later, we have an update on the Brown Farm property. What's been holding up the process? What can the town expect? All the information ahead.
And our weekly segment, Library Learning. New events coming your way.
Those stories and much more ahead on ELCAT News Update.
Good evening, I'm Rebecca Green.
And I'm Jake Brady.
We begin tonight with an immediate release from the Board of Selectmen, asking the town for help.
The board announced that they welcome the public to become involved in the search for a new police chief.
For the past several months, Police Chief Doug Mellis has been in the process of negotiating a renewal for his current contract, which expires in March. Mellis has been police chief in East Longmeadow for 11 years.
At the December 29th Board of Selectmen meeting, the board voted 2-1 to post the chief's position instead of renewing another term on Mellis's contract.
Speaking of police, we dive into the latest crimes, announcements, and more with Police Sergeant Dennis Sheehan.
I spoke to a DEA agent yesterday about the Versace heroin, and he said that was something they had seen years ago. But recently, the city recovered over 50 bags with this Versace stamp on it. And they investigated a suspicious motor vehicle. Resident called in. We encourage people to do that if they see something that doesn't fit in the neighborhood. A person called in, and we responded and investigated and found several people in the vehicle. And one thing led to another, and they found the female in the vehicle to be in possession of one bag of the heroin with the Versace stamp, but there were approximately 40 to 50 bags empty in the car. And they also recovered 3 syringes.
This week, the East Longmeadow Police Department's Facebook page posted that they will be taking part in the 11th National Drug Take-Back Initiative.
We have a Facebook page for the department. It seems to be very popular. We got a number of hits, and it's a way that we put out information about recent news stories. We have a drug take-back program coming up on April 30th of this year. We set up out front, and anybody that has unused prescriptions, expired prescriptions, things they want to dispose of, they can just drive up, see us, drop them off, and we'll dispose of those properly so they don't end up in the wrong hands or into the environment. We've done this for a number of years now, and we've collected over 1,000 pounds of prescription medication. You think about how much a tablet or a pill weighs, that's quite a bit of things that have been diverted away from the waste stream and the environment. And it helps everybody. One of the things we run into is during house breaks, one of the things that people frequently do, the suspects, is they will check the medicine cabinet and look for medication. So this is another way of keeping it out of their hands also.
Our next topic is one we've been covering for quite some time, the Brown Farm property. The community has been waiting for a decision on what the town will do with the property.
Back in 2009, the town purchased the Brown Farm property in hopes of providing another great asset for residents. However, limited use has come out of the property, whereas the potential is there. ELCAT talks to Recreation Director and Chairman of the Brown Farm Committee, Colin Drury, for an update.
The selectmen essentially created a committee, and that committee is the Brown Farm Committee. And our job is to dream. Our job is to find out what we can do, what we can't do, what can be used, or if it's going to be active, passive, or what it might be. So our job is to kind of do research, solicit town's members to let us know what they want and kind of find out exactly what the property can be used for. So if it's passive, it's kind of as the property is right now. There's trails, there's bird watching, sitting, enjoying nature, because townspeople can do that right now. That property is available to them. There's a parking lot that was created by our DPW. Drive in, go for a hike, enjoy yourself. Active basically means, you're putting sports fields. You're adding a little bit more structure and scheduling to the property. Could be basketball courts, playgrounds, splash pads. It's just a little bit above that basic just being outdoors. type of recreation. So both are very valuable, so it kind of depends on which route we're going to go.
Driven Eagle Scout Tyler Lehman also joined in on the project to enhance the property's features for the community's use. Drury tells about Lehman's contributions.
He came in to see me and he asked if there was anything or any ideas that we could come up with for the town and for his Eagle Scout project. And I had known that Brown Farm was one of our kind of things, like, what are we doing with it? Is it just community gardens? Because if it is, just tell us. Or is it going to be more? So I think putting structure to the trails was one of the things that I'd love to see for the property, because you know what, that back part can't be used for anything else but trails, because it is partially conservation and wetlands. So I said, Tyler, here's your project, and he ran with it. So what he did is he did all the research. I let him borrow a GPS unit when he walked the trails, created the trails, mapped the trails, and then he looked to local businesses to assist him in all the products he would need to build an actual trailhead, in which he has done. So the trailhead has been built, it has been put up at the property, and our goal is, when the snow melts, to have an official grand opening of our trail system where Tyler can then take people around the trails to enjoy them.
Drury makes it clear that East Longmeadow residents have a strong say in the process. All suggestions are welcomed.
I believe the process is that the selectmen can focus what the use is going to be for the property, but it is the townspeople's decision on actual, changes to the property. Are we going to put a ice skating rink, there, or are we going to put a baseball field, or are we just going to put a park bench? So really the town, at this point in our current government, the town would be then making the decision on any money or sums of money that would be spent to improve the property. We have an email. It's recreation@eastlongmeadowma.gov. That goes right to me. So if you have any ideas, just keep them coming. Whether it's a soccer field, a baseball field, or a bench, I'm excited for everything. And my number one goal is just to add another asset for our community to take the time to go outside and enjoy our town right here. So that's our goal, so send anything my way.
Recreation is a common topic this week.
Like the Brown Farm property, Heritage Park is also being looked at for improvements. The latest Board of Public Works meeting addressed potential ideas.
Wanted to bring the board up to speed. We've talked once or twice about the DPW's role in the study of Heritage Park and what can be done for recreational facilities potentially at that location. You may recall that the town meeting voters approved $25,000 to study that facility, and that facility only to really take a look at what the limitations, what the constraints are at that site. Take a look at slopes, take a look at wetlands, take a look at depths to ledge, and then start taking a look at what might be able to be done at that location. Not necessarily what will be done, but what are some of the opportunities that might be there should the town decide to fund improvements at Heritage Park at some point in the future. So what I put in front of you is 3 draft layouts that Berkshire Design has come up with. When you take a look at the property, significant pieces of the property are constrained because of wetlands. So you're left with really an area kind of in the center, upper center of the property that could be developed for some type of field use.
The board then looks over probable issues that could occur.
We talked about was from a security standpoint. It would be helpful, we thought, that if, in particular, security and police were able to drive through the center of this location. So you see most of these layouts are doing something with where the current soccer field is. The thought would be perhaps if you could bring vehicle traffic, or at least security vehicle traffic, in through the center of the park, loop around the backside of the pond and bring it back, that might go a long way towards getting a more consistent presence in the center of the park to deter some of the activities that we would like to deter from happening. Because right now, with access being relatively limited to motorized vehicles, there's a lot of things could go on in the backside of the park and nobody would ever know that they were going on.
Isn't parking a main concern? I mean, if you have all these fields,
Yeah.
don't you really have to have a lot more additional parking?
Definitely. Ideally, you'd locate as much of the parking close to the field as possible, and you'd be looking at probably a signal upgrade as well, because right now the signal at Stop and Shop there handles a relatively small number of cars coming out of the small lot in front. If you're doubling or tripling that
And these would probably get the most amount of use on the weekend, while those two grocery stores would be the same.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not saying that any of these are ideal, but it's taking a look at what could you do here.
Right.
And, if you wanted to start moving in this direction, what might you do, first and second and third?
Lastly, the board reviews the steps that are needed to implement the project.
So it's some concepts, we're kind of heading in this direction, what ifs. The thought is that we start to get some prices attached to these and then start having some interaction with the public, set up a couple of public meetings, talk to people, again, really just try to get some ideas, make certain. We did, as I said, get input from the rec commission. They had kind of their wish list that they were put together.
Facilities Manager Bruce Fenney takes the spotlight and discusses DPW projects.
The latest, road repairs. Good news for drivers, those aggravating potholes will hopefully be a thing of the past.
Our potholes have been really minimal this year, based on obviously the nice weather we've been having. We've actually tried something new this year. We've actually stacked probably about 24 ton of berm in the back of the salt shed. We actually laid that out previously before the plants closed into 3-foot pieces, stacked them into the back of the salt shed on the backside, not in the salt shed. So we put those in at the end of the day each day and heat it up to about 100 degrees and then in the morning heat it up to about 400 degrees. It becomes pliable and easier to work with, and hopefully it's going to last a lot longer than cold patch. So we've used it a few times, it seems to be working. So maybe next year it's something we can do and actually stockpile even more so.
You just run the burn machine out,
Yep,
cut
yep.
it up into
Yeah,
3-4
cut it up,
lengths.
so once it dries or
Hardens
sets up,
Yeah.
stack it in the back and,
Just heat it
throw
back.
only a few pieces in. You can't throw a bunch
Yeah.
of it in all at once. Obviously, the heat is gonna penetrate. So we've been doing that. We're actually gonna be using it on a trench tomorrow over behind the high school and see how it holds up, and maybe, obviously, in the future, we can, stockpile a little more for when the plants close.
Nice.
Nice concept.
And the cost of the burn mix versus the cold patch is probably about 20% less as well. So,
Yeah.
and again, we're optimistic it's going to be more durable and last longer than the cold patches.
Yeah. So we'll see how it works out. Hopefully it works out well. So during the winter months, we have actually a good material that'll stay in the holes. Like I said, this isn't really a good winter to test that because of the lack of rain and frost and everything else, but we'll see.
It's a great concept.
Yeah.
Moving on to another town meeting, the Board of Assessors.
Solar panels are increasing dramatically on East Long Meadow residential rooftops. The board talks numbers and benefits of having solar panels for your home.
For solar, we had 9 in the month of November, 9 in the month of December, for year to date or year ending totaling 110 solar projects. We had 48 last year, which we thought was quite significant. So there are 62 more in the month, in the calendar year 2015.
Quite a number of these solar projects. And again, there's a statute that says that if the solar project is on the roof of a house and you own both the solar project and the house, then it's tax exempt for 20 years.
In local news, expect traffic delays for your morning commute throughout this week. Due to maintenance work on a gas main, drivers will hit traffic at the intersection of Shaker Road and Pease Road from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Although police are on the scene directing traffic, alternative routes are highly recommended.
That traffic may have delayed eager children from a special audition.
Auditions for St. Michael's Players' spring show Cinderella were held this week at St. Michael's Community Center on Summers Road. ELCAT covered the audition process and talked with director Adam Malmberg about the program.
So what they do, the kids, they go online. We have a website, stmichaelsplayers.com, and we have all the show information, the audition information, and it gives them an audition form, as well as it gives them, they'd be able to see all the character descriptions. So when they come in for auditions, they have the form filled out, or they can fill it out the form at the desk like they're doing now. And then what we do is we've got a picture taken so we can see, remember what their face looks like, because so many kids, we want to put a face to a name. And then we pull them in, we have them sit down. And then what we do is we have them quickly come up to the stage, introduce themselves, tell them their name, tell us their age, what parts they want to come audition for. And then we had previously selected scenes from our show that they're actually going to read scenes from. So last night we had like 23 girls want to be Cinderella. So we had those girls all get up on stage and they each took a turn reading for Cinderella. We really wanted to focus not just on the reading, but their facial emotions, their expressions, things like that, because Cinderella is not just about reading. Theater is not just about reading. It's about, showing us, making us believe that you're the character. So then after that, once we did the readings, then they are free to go.
59 kids auditioned last night from all ages, few teenagers, all kinds of people. People wanted all of the roles, all the different everything. Everybody was auditioning for everything, and everybody was enthusiastic and very excited, and of course nervous, but they didn't show it as much. And I was very excited with how well all the kids did.
It's a great organization, and I enjoy working with the kids and seeing them go from the first step to the next level in acting and singing and dancing, and it's great. I love it. I absolutely love it. Like Allie is a senior, and she started younger, and it's just progression. And we've got, in some of our adult shows, we've had seniors, citizens who have been doing it, for the last 11 years. Our goal is to make it a community event that every family member can see and that they enjoy. And we keep the ticket prices low. We sell out every single show, and it's a great entertainment for a family.
In other local news,
A town favorite breakfast and lunch spot, Coughlin's Place, is up for sale.
the owners, Anne Marie Duffy and Dennis Madden, are looking to sell the name, recipes, and everything associated with Coughlin's. ELCAT talks with Duffy to learn more.
We've been here for 28 years. It'll be 28 years February 1st. We opened in February of '88. We feel like we have been part of the community, and we have a ton of regulars and people that we just feel like is family, and so it was a hard decision, but it's just time to move on to the next phase in life. It's funny that real estate people are telling us this is probably going to take a year to sell it, because first of all you have to find somebody with money, and then you have to find somebody who wants to work this hard, and then you have to find somebody who has the skills and knowledge to make it happen. So if it takes a year, it'll be pretty funny, because it took us almost a year to open it. We did traffic studies in different places and met with different towns and trying to figure out where we wanted to be and where we wanted to fit in with the image that we had, which was just a small breakfast, lunch, hot food hot, cold food cold, fast, friendly for service, quality products. So we didn't want to go just anywhere, and we ended up in East Long Meadow, and we don't want to just sell to anybody either. We want it to continue on.
It is important to know that although Coughlin's is up for sale, it is not closing down.
We close down for vacation the first 2 weeks in February every year, so we are doing that again this year. So if people see the place closed, it's closed for 2 weeks for vacation. We didn't shut down. The phone keeps ringing, and people say, "When's your last day?" Like, we don't have a last day. We put it on the market. Hopefully it'll sell, and people will take it over and do the same thing, and it will never close. It won't ever close.
Before the owners go on their vacation starting in February, a special program is running throughout the month of January. The owners tell us more.
January, we're having our annual food drive, so people that have come in for years know this, but if you come in for the rest of the month and you bring with you either 10 5-ounce cans of tuna, 5 18-ounce jars of hearty soup, 2 jars of peanut butter, or 2 jars of tomato sauce, and 2 boxes of pasta, you get your meal that day for free. Breakfast or lunch, doesn't matter, soup to nuts. The food goes to the Rescue Mission, the Grey House, the Community Survival Center, and the Friends of the Homeless.
You're feeding the hungry, and we're feeding you, so it works out well.
The owners of Coughlin's are in no rush to sell. They want to find the right person for the job in hopes the restaurant will stay a family-friendly community restaurant.
It's been great to us, and we just feel like such a part of the community, so we don't really want to feel like we're leaving everybody. It's just letting Coughlin's change hands.
We have more to dish onto your plate.
Unico National is holding a porchetta dinner at St. Luke's on Friday, February 5th.
Unico National is the largest Italian-American service organization in the United States. Its motto is service above self. Community members are welcome to enjoy good company and, of course, delicious food. Head on down to St. Luke's on Prospect Street Friday, February 5th at 6 p.m. Now moving on to library learning,
where we let you know what events are coming up at the EL Public Library.
A new program is starting this week. Put your thinking caps on because it's time for Great Decisions.
The Great Decisions program allows community members to join in on influential topics such as world events and U.S. foreign policy.
Participants will have access to books and DVDs of the PBS Great Decision series to review discussion topics prior to each meeting.
The first meeting will take place on Tuesday, February 2nd at 6 p.m. in the library community room. Registration is required.
Also happening at the library, a pajama drive.
Cradles to Crayons and the Boston Bruins have teamed up for a fundraiser that supports local children living in poverty. This statewide organization invites local libraries to participate. Donated pajamas must be new. Worn clothes will not be accepted for this specific drive. ELCAT gets all the details from children's librarian Jenny Kinder.
They need to be new, any size or for any gender up until a child who's about 12, so birth to age 12. We are planning to have some tags here that have sizes on them that people can take as a reminder, simply as a reminder to bring the pajamas back. They can also, if they prefer, they can also just donate money in the form of a check, and checks should be made to Cradles to Crayons.
There is an incentive for communities who donate the most pajamas. Cradles to Crayons and the Boston Bruins will announce the results at the end of the drive.
They will let us know in total how many pajamas across the state were collected, and they also give out prizes for libraries that collect the most. Things like a visit from Blades, the mascot. So good Bruins prizes. So if we could do that, that would be awesome. We might get another visit from Blades. But otherwise, the real reason we're doing it is just to help children across the state, and actually particularly in Western Massachusetts, who need a little comfort to help them out. So just one note is that we will send all the pajamas that we collect to this organization in Boston, but they are very intentional about making sure the pajamas are distributed to places all over the state. So Western Massachusetts will get their fair share of the donations.
According to Kinder, the library is a central place in the community, so she feels that participating is a good way to be connected to the community and region as a whole. The drive starts February 1st and will continue until March 9th.
We're really hoping people will respond. Our community is so generous that we know we'll do well.
We'll end tonight with some public service announcements.
First up, 2016 dog licenses are now available.
You can now purchase your dog licenses at the town clerk's office. All current dog licenses expire March 31st, so don't forget to renew your dog license before time is up.
Next, open burning season has officially started.
What this means is that if you're interested in cleaning up your yard, such as getting rid of tree limbs and brush, then open burning may be your solution.
However, in order to do so, you must purchase the $5 permit.
Permit purchases can be made at the East Long Meadow Fire Department. Hours of operation are Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Well, that will do it for this edition of ELCAT News Update. Be sure to watch meetings on demand at our ELCAT YouTube channel, ELCAT 01028.
Follow us on Facebook and watch us on cable channel 191. I'm Rebecca Green.
And I'm Jake Brady. Until next time, good night.